It's still April 3rd, 2026, and I'm going to illuminate what the parable of the talents in the Gospels is actually about. In the parable of the talents, this guy is going away for a while, and he gives talents are a unit of measurement of like gold and silver, and so he's got some wealth, and he wants to give it to a few people for safekeeping. And so he gives he's got three people. He gives one guy 5 talents, he gives another guy 2 talents, and he gives another guy 1 talent. And then he goes away, he comes back, and the guy with 5 talents invested it and doubled it. Now he's got 10. The guy with 2, who had been given 2 talents, also invested it and doubled it, so he's got 4. The guy with 1 talent didn't invest it. Instead, he said, the master who gives the talents out actually is kind of an asshole. He describes himself as someone who harvests where he does not plant. It's something to that effect. It's been a long time since I mentioned it, so but basically he basically describes himself as a dickhead. He harvests, he takes things that aren't his, is the essence of it. And so the guy with 1 talent says, well, I knew you were a guy who takes things that aren't his, and you're kind of an asshole, that the implication there is. So I was kind of afraid of you, so I took the talent and I buried it. And so here's your 1 talent. You gave it to me for safekeeping. I kept it. And he gives him the 1 talent. So the master gets upset. He says, these 2 guys invested the money, and now I'm wealthier. You didn't. So he takes the 1 talent away from the guy who had it, and he gives it to the guy who he had given 5 talents to. And it says something to the effect of, for him who has little, even that will be taken away, which of course is really unfair. The parable of talent ends with some kind of statement like, even for those who have a lot, they will be given more, and for those who have a little, even that will be taken away. And if you read that and you don't object to it, then you're a fucking dingling, and you're not thinking like a child in terms of fair and unfair. That is just unfair. And Jesus says in the Sermon on the Mount, in his first public sermon, he says, beware of false prophets, for they come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves. Sometimes he is, in effect, playing the bad guy. And he tells parables, and he teaches in parables. Parables require the audience to interpret what is being said. You have to take the symbols from the story and come up with your own opinion on what they mean. So he says a number of times, people ask him questions about like scriptures, and he says, well, how do you read it? So he encourages people to think independently, and he teaches parabolically. So when he presents a guy in a parable who harvests where he does not plant, and who acts like such a dick to people, you're not supposed to just go along, well, that's how God is, so, and I want my little cookies and rewards and stuff, so I'm going to go along with it. That's kind of not what Jesus wants at all. So the basic idea is it's not about quote unquote talent. Talent is just it's a word, but it refers to a quantity, a unit of measurement of gold and silver. It's not about. Well, I shouldn't say it's not about, because it is also about using the abilities that you have. But what I'm gonna do is tell you what it's really about. If you picture the cross, okay, so one guy has 5 talents, another guy has 2 talents, another guy has 1 talent. Okay, and the 1 talent is buried. Okay, it's buried. So picture the cross. What would be, you have the horizontal beam going across, going this way, and then you have the vertical going down. Something that would be buried would be here where Jesus' feet were. So the 1 talent is the nail, the silver nail that gets driven to his 2 feet, each of which have 5 toes. So if you think about the horizontal, he gets a nail in one hand and a nail in another hand. But on the vertical, it's different. The two legs are combined, are crossed over, and one nail is driven through. So you have two legs, each of which has 5 toes, and one nail goes through. Jesus Christ is God. The image of Jesus crucified on the cross is the image and likeness of God. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, it says, "In the image of God is male and female." The likeness of God is male and female. That is reiterated in Genesis 5:2. When they were created in the image and likeness of God, male and female. They were created, or Adam was created, or mankind was created. The point is, the image of God is male and female. So you have male one side and female another side. But because of a false understanding of gender roles and patriarchy in particular, where, you know, boys don't cry and girls have to behave one way and boys have to behave another way, and you have to pick. You have to be either a boy or a girl. The two legs get smushed together, 5 toes on each, 2 legs, they get crossed over, and the one silver nail that's buried at the bottom of the cross gets driven through it, and it hurts like fucking hell. If you think about it, if you had a choice to either have, just from the pain perspective, to have nail driven through each of your palms separately, or crossed over and smushed through both of your feet with one nail, I would take the hands. That is really, really uncomfortable and very, very painful. And that is the mistake that the parable of the talents is pointing out. In the Gospel of John, the miracle of loaves and fishes, chapter 6, verse 9, a kid shows up and it says, "There is a lad here with 5 barley loaves, toes, and 2 small fishes, feet. But what are they among so many?" Once again, 5 toes, 2 feet. What are they? We have to classify them. Okay, let's take that one nail. You have to classify. It's either male or female, and that's a mistake. People are born, a small percentage of people are born with some kind of intersex traits, anatomically, at birth, by God, gifted that way. Also, emotional, psychological, gender, and the whole Taoist philosophy of male and female. If you picture the yin yang, the male and female, the black and the white, the masculine and the feminine, the whole thing, the world operates on creative and receptive interacting with one another in balance, and we get very, very out of balance when you force people to fit into boxes. Once again, as I've said in other videos, you take a cross. This is a human being. This is my picture of a human being. I'm going to draw a simple, like a fucking retard. I'm going to draw one line here and one line here, and that's what people have to be, and I'm going to pin people to it. Everybody that gets born, I'm going to pin people to it. And there was a very, very personal reason why Jesus objected to this. There was a very, very personal reason why Jesus took this whole thing on. And it hasn't been discussed yet. But trust me, he had a really good reason for getting very, very fucking pissed off by people trying to pigeonhole a child into one box.